All right, welcome back, guys. We are going to be skipping lesson 2 for right now. We might come back to that at the end of this unit, but we're going to be looking at lesson 3 today. So you are going to need the following pages: page 91, page 93, page 95, and page 97. 93, 91, 93, 95, and 97. So go ahead and take a second and get those out for me now. All right, once you have these out, we are going to be looking at 5 different tasks today. I'm going to go over task number 1 with you. You are going to go over a couple of them with your teacher, and then they might be giving you some actual independent practice to go over the rest of these during your independent time today. So let's take a look at what this says. We are going to explore layers today. We talked about volume yesterday, and we talked about how we've got our length, width, and height, right? So length, width, and our height. Today we are going to look at, we're gonna like break apart the layers like an onion to show that it doesn't matter how you look at it, it's always gonna be the same exact thing. So take a look at this top picture right here. This top picture is not yet complete, but we know all of our dimensions. We know from here to here is our width, and that is 3. From here to here, that is our length, that is 3. And from top to bottom, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So once again, how did I get that? That's 1, 2, and 3. That's there. Let me zoom in a little bit so that you can see that. So my width being 3, this also being 3, and then counting 4 up, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I know that what I'm getting ready to build is going to be a 3 times 3 times 4. Okay, so you might already be able to figure out how many cubes I'm going to be using, but I have went ahead and built exactly what you see here. So let me do exactly what it shows here. So I've built this. I need to fill in the rest of this figure, and then I'm going to break it apart into layers. I'm going to break it apart into length layers, width layers, and into height layers. Okay, so first let's go ahead and I'm just going to build it. So I'm just going to build each of these different pieces so it looks like a cube. You're seeing my building skills here. Because once I know, guys, the length, the width, and the height, it's very easy for me to figure out what the cube looks like, because I'm just going to make sure that I've got all my different dimensions exactly the way that it says. So I'm going to confirm this with you once I'm finished. Okay, so let's take a look at my cube here. So if I'm looking over, now it's kind of hard to see on the document camera, but if I'm looking over, I go over by 3, right? White, white, and green. If I turn it, my width is green, orange, and red by 3. And then my height is going to be red, black, green, and black with my different layers. Okay, so here's what it looks like, right? I can turn it any different way. It's always going to be the exact same amount of cubes. So let's keep it up like this, up here. Okay, and let's think about my different layers. So if I were to keep it like this, and I were to cut this into layers, and I were to take off this whole layer right here, let me put my finger so it looks a little bit easier, this whole entire layer, look what's going to happen. I'm going to take off this entire red layer. And now it looks a little bit different, but I've taken off this entire layer, right? So watch what happens. It was like this. I removed this entire layer, And let's count how many cubes I have in this layer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so number of cubes in a layer is 12. Now, how many of these layers do I actually have? I've got 1. And if I were to take apart these 2 as well, my cubes aren't quite staying together here. I can make them stay. Notice how I've got 3 of those layers. So number of layers, 3. And so if I've got 3 layers of 12, 12, 24, 36, my volume is going to be 36. So if I draw my diagram, I broke it apart into 1 layer of 12 right here, and 1 layer of 12 right here. Right, and I'm going to say this is 12, 12, and 12. Okay, let me put this back together. Back to my original, right? So now original, I'm good to go. Now I'm going to turn it, and now I'm going to break it apart into these pieces. So now I'm going to take away all of this layer, the whole entire thing. I'm cutting the whole thing off. So let me see if I can make this work. So it's going to be a little bit more challenging. So give me 1 second to take this apart. Okay. So let me build this back together so that it makes a little bit more sense. Okay. So there's the layer that I just removed. I took this layer off this time. So if I look at this layer and I count my number of squares, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've got 9 in each layer. Now this time, look at how many layers. It's gonna be really hard for me to take this apart because I built it in a different way. But I've got 1. Here's a whole nother one, 2. Here's a whole nother one, 3. And here's a whole nother one, 4. Now, even though you can't really see the middle layer, right? I can't see the middle, I only see the outsides. I know that there is a cube underneath this white one, and there's a green one here, but there's a cube in the middle that I can't see. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. So if I have 4 layers of 9, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 18, 27, 36. And this I'm splitting it into 4 pieces. So this time this is gonna go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this was 9, 9, 9, and 9. 4 layers of 9. All right, let me put this back together. All right, so I've looked at it now 2 ways. Let's look at it now the third way. So I've looked at it like this and broke it up into 3 pieces. I've looked at it like this and broken into this pieces. So now I'm gonna turn it on its side again, and notice what you see here. This looks really similar to when I turned it like this. It looks like 3 and goes across by 4. 3 and goes across by 4. Well, notice since my 2 numbers are the exact same, I'm going to have the exact same dimensions for my length and for my width. So if I once again take this whole layer off, and let me show you again what this looks like, and I take this layer off, It's gonna look the exact same that I just did it. I've got 9 cubes and 4 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? This is a layer, this is a layer, and this is a layer. 4 layers for 36. And it looks the exact same that I just did. So 9, 9, 9, 9 for 36. So what you're going to do today is you are going to unpack, you're going to look at different cubes, look at different figures, and unpack them by taking them apart as in layers and figuring out if I can know how much is in each layer, I can multiply or then add all of that together to get to my total. So you've got another one here, task 2. You've got another picture right here. You're going to do the exact same thing with your teacher, going to build it and going to go over what this looks like and then take it apart into different layers. Can I figure out what is my width, what is my length, and what is my height? I can put my numbers over here and I'm going to break them up into layers. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint when I'm looking at this, and if I'm taking apart my layers properly, then it's all going to make sense for exactly how much is going to be in each of my layers when I'm looking at it and taking it apart. Okay, so you've got a couple of different tasks here. Your teacher will then decide which ones you're going to do together and which ones you guys are going to do independently. And then you've got your homework assignment here. Once again, figure out the width, figure out the length, figure out the height, and break it into pieces, right? So I'm going to break this one into this piece, this piece, this piece. I can break it into that layer and that layer, and I also can break it into that piece going across. So you're going to break it into different layers and different pieces. All right, good luck, and go ahead and work on that with your teacher now.